Hey guys, welcome back to the Nurse Life 242, and in today's video we'll be talking about how I got here. It's been about 9 years later since I got through with school. Yes, I know I don't look it, but it's been 9 years, okay, since I've started my nursing career. So if you haven't checked out my video on my nursing school journey, maybe you should pause this one, go and check the nursing school journey, and then hop back to this one to see how you can advance in your career after nursing school. So this video is just to carry you guys on a little story time of how I maneuvered through my nursing career thus far and how I've gotten here to this point. Okay, so if you don't know where I am, that means you haven't been keeping up with the channel. Okay, I am now here in Dallas, Texas. Yes, working as a nurse, and so I have some upcoming videos coming on how you can be here too. But for right now, if you're a new nurse just starting out, I'm sure this video will also be valuable to you. What I didn't include in my last video on my nursing school journey was that on the last end of my journey, I was on the government grant, basically like a scholarship, or so it's basically like some assistance to help you with your studies. Nursing school was about 4 to 5 years, give or take. And so I think I got on the grants probably like the last 2 years of nursing school. Of course, there are requirements that you have to meet, like your GPA. I think they ask you about your family history, like where your mommy work, where your daddy work, and stuff like that, just to find out like if you really need the grant, and basically just to make sure that you can keep up your grades and everything while being on the grant. And so I had a question from somebody that had asked, how long do they have to work as a nurse in that particular facility if they got on the grant? Okay, and so like I said, for me, I believe I was on the grant for about 2 years. If I'm not mistaken, that would equivalent to me having to work 2 years at my facility. However, I never got an official letter or anything stating that, okay, this is the amount of time that you have to work for. Therefore, I would assume that it's up to however long you want to stay at that facility. If you want to be honest with yourself and you want to have a clear conscience, you basically just work back the amount of time that you would have been on the grant for. Okay, and so I would have done that and more. For me, it didn't really matter. I know I wanted to get my experience first before moving on to anything else, and so I think I got more than an experience because I actually stayed longer than I wanted to. But like I said, it's been a good journey. I've learned a lot. That was my foundation, and so I cannot badmouth or throw stones, throw rocks or anything at that facility, because that was my stumping ground. That was my foundation that made me the nurse that I am today. And so I am appreciative. Like I said, you have good days, bad days, whatever. So yeah, that's that on that. Once you're done with nursing school and you go into the government hospital, which is where I worked, they require you to do a rotation. And so that rotation should include the medical area, the surgical area, accident and emergency, different parts, so you can get experience in the different types of nursing. But for me, or for my batch, my colleagues, our rotation was sort of cut short because, the hospital was short staffed. What hospital isn't? They called us all in this meeting and they said, okay, this is where you're to go, this is where you're to go, and this is where you guys are gonna be for a while. So somehow, I think I got placed in either the medical or the surgical area. Either way, didn't want to be in any of those. And because I always had a passion for children, for babies, anything within that pediatric range, okay? And so there was someone that got the opportunity to go to the NICU. And so it worked out perfectly because they didn't want to be there and I didn't want to be where I was going. And so we were able to swap and I ended up in the NICU. Couldn't be happier. So I've spent most of my nursing career in the NICU, and I could say it's been one for the books, okay? Seeing those babies like this size, like the size of your palm, okay, the size of your hand is no joke. Initially, of course, it was scary, okay, because it's like, how am I gonna touch and lift and handle this little tiny frail thing? Because of course you have babies that come prematurely, okay, and then you have some that come, you know, the size that they're supposed to, but then sometimes they have other little things wrong, like maybe sucking issues or breathing issues or something of that sort. I would have learned a lot, okay? And that's a specialty area. When nurses first graduate, they don't usually get to go in specialty areas. And so I was one of the lucky ones, okay? I was really one of the lucky ones because we had no experience, like I said, fresh out of nursing school. And so they basically had nurses on board to give us that training and provide us with that training that we needed, okay? And that made us well equipped, you know, to manage and handle these babies eventually on our own. Within that time of being in the NICU, we've had other nurses that started to rotate. Now, like I said earlier in the video, my rotation when I came out of nursing school had gotten cut short. So now that sort of caught up with us, and you know, the nursing supervisors, the sisters as we call it, they started coming around saying, okay, y'all gotta do your rotation. For all of y'all who didn't complete or didn't do a rotation, you know, it's time that you guys go ahead and do it. So of course everyone was upset, you know, because we was like, why? Like, we done been here all this time. We like where we at. We like what we doing. Like, why we have to rotate? You know, we done been working with babies for so long. Like, we don't want to work with no adults. No offense. But yeah, we don't want to work with that population. We like where we are, okay? Because even like throughout being in the NICU, there would be times when you had to float to other areas. But that's why it's good to be a well-rounded nurse. So although you may have your specialty, you know, that you may like, or this idea in your head of where you want to go, the best advice that I could give to you is to do your rotation. Okay, I didn't want to do it, but when it was time for me to do it and I did it, I was actually appreciative, okay? But anyway, we're getting to that. So the time came, like I said, when they were coming around saying that, you know, it's time for y'all to rotate. One by one, we had persons that I came out of school with that was with me in the NICU. One by one, they all went to different areas to rotate. Here I was thinking that, okay, I've already started my process to go to the States, you know, hopefully they won't catch me. Hopefully I could duck out on that. Lo and behold, my process did not happen quick enough. And so basically they got me, okay? They got me. Where I ended up going was one of the med-surg areas, one of the med-surg units. And I spent about a year there. And mind you, the rotation was only supposed to be for a year. And in that year, I thought I would have still, you know, went around to different places. But I ended up spending a whole year on that ward. But within that time, COVID had came. Well, actually, COVID had came from before that. But we still had our COVID units open, okay? Persons were still catching COVID. And so within that year, I got the chance, not that I wanted to, but I got the chance to go and work with COVID patients underneath the tent. Yes, we had actual tents. And yeah, actually it wasn't as bad as I thought, because at that time, the patients that came in with COVID weren't as bad as before. Like their symptoms were not nearly as bad. We didn't have patients dying as often, or basically didn't have patients dying at all from COVID at this point. And so I sort of went at a good time, yay me. Okay, so I did that for about, I don't know, maybe a month or two. And then they came to me and they was like, okay, because mind you, at the same time, I was reminding them like, hey, my year is coming up. Like, what are you guys gonna do? Are you gonna send me back to my ward, which is NICU? Or, you know, like, what's happening? And so one of the supervisors, she came and she said, well, you may not be able to go back to NICU, but there's an availability in PEDS, you know, we call it children's ward. So I'm like, well, okay, I guess that could work because, you know, that's closer to NICU, and you know, if I go to children's ward, you know, I may be able to easily hop back into NICU. And so I took it. So went to children's ward, built or developed a relationship with, you know, another, I guess, family. And I liked it there. Like I said, you have ups and downs all throughout. My age group with pediatrics was from about 6 months to the age of 4 years old. Okay, now of course the pediatric unit goes up to, I think about, for us it's a little different. So I think for us was about 12. And whenever I had to, I may have had to float to different areas within the pediatric unit, but that was my main area. So after doing about 6 years in the NICU, went to the med surg area for about a year, and then ended up in PEDS for about another year and some change. Okay, my process started to kick up, you know, started to move along, and now here I am today, like I said, in Dallas, Texas. If you don't take anything else from this video, just know that rotating is a good thing. You may have a specialty area in mind, but rotating is a good thing, okay? Because where I am now, for example, I am working with adults again, which is not something that I really wanted to do, but working in that med surg area, I'm able to bring those same skills and the knowledge that I have to the job that I currently have today. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure I like it by giving it a thumbs up. Click on that thumbs up button, okay? And definitely subscribe to the channel. I have lots more videos coming up on, you know, how you can transition here to the US if that's something that you plan to do. I also have vlogs showing basically my life now here in Dallas, okay? So nursing content, lifestyle content, if that's something that you think you'll enjoy, definitely subscribe to the channel. Press that bell, that same button that looks like a bell, okay, so that you can be notified whenever I upload a video. If you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I will see you in the other one.